Hello students, today we are talking about Michel Foucault's famous work History of Sexuality. This work was published in the year 1977. In this work, Foucault is examining the history of sexuality from 17th century to present time. Early 17th century was a period of sexual independence. Later 17th century is a period of sexual repression. In the 18th century, sex became a matter of police controlling and morality. Government started to monitor birth rates, fertility levels and frequency of sexual relations. So, before examining about the history of sexuality during all this period, first we need to analyze the various discourses of power which were used to control sexuality. Actually, all the works of Michel Foucault are based on discourse. Discourse is a set of ideas and principles which influence the thinking process of common man. Foucault feels that in the repression and controlling of sexuality of people also, this discourse of power is used. Some powerful people and institutions like schools, religion and law tries to control the life of people through their discourses or ideas. So this is what the main concept of history of sexuality, that this natural instinct of sex or sexuality are controlled by certain institutions like law, religion and police, law and religion. Foucault in this work observes that sexuality is controlled by discourses of power. Foucault feels here also there is an operation of power in the field of this controlling. Discourse of power means some powerful people who have rule and command over society imposes or forces normal sexuality or heterosexuality above the people. This is called the discourses of power. Certain forms of sexuality like bisexual and transgenders were considered as unnatural and deviated from the normal path of society. And those who deviated from this normalcy is called homosexuals. And these homosexuals are considered as sexually perverted. These people were placed under scrutiny and surveillance. Thus, Foucault feels that sexuality and sexual body became an instrument of power play. Here, law and medicine or medical experts examines the body of a man before categorizing them as insane or criminal or bisexual. And Foucault calls this practice as medical gaze, where human body becomes a locus of power. Foucault simply says that through this examining of human body, some powerful people are categorizing certain people as insane, certain people as sick, and some people as bisexual. And this categorization led to the marginalization and exploitation of gays and lesbians. In the work History of Sexuality, Foucault says that When certain people are deviated from the normalcy of society, they were called as insane, sick, and criminal. This simply means that when some people showed some instance of bisexuality, they were marginalized or they were separated from the mainstream of society, and they were called as criminals and in sick and mad, and they were forced to severe exploitation and punishment also. And in this work, Foucault is severely criticizing this practice of subjugation of bisexuality. So this resulted in the subjugation or this categorization resulted in the feeling that people who have different sexuality are others or something inferior. In the in the Western concept, other means it's opposite to a good thing. For example, in post-colonial concepts, the people of Africa were considered as others or something inferior. And here also Foucault says that those who deviated from the normal sexuality were considered as others, and they were subjected to severe punishment and exploitation. Medical, philosophical, and legal knowledge considered these people as deviants and gave them punishment and medical treatment. They were sent to psychiatric treatment. They were considered as something different, and they were given forced psychiatric treatment. And in this work, History of Sexuality, Michel Foucault is severely criticizing this practice. Again, Foucault observes that during 19th century, sexuality of women, children, homosexuals, and married couple came under surveillance or scrutiny or examination. In this surveillance and controlling, Foucault detects or Foucault finds some principles of operation of power. Here, in this controlling of sexuality of children, women, and married couple, Foucault is feeling some oppression of power from the institutions like law, religion, and education. There are mainly four kinds of people, four kinds of observations were made in the society. They are controlling, they are examining of children or homosexuals, married couples, and female body. These four section of people were severely examined during 19th century for this controlling of sexuality. Children were considered as subordinate sexual being compared to that of adults. So, parents, teachers, and family members monitored these children against any perversion like masturbation. Children were monitored against the perversion of masturbation. So, there happened a monitoring, and four sections of people were put to this monitoring, and the second section of people are homosexuals. Homosexuality considered as a perversion and disorder to society. A list of perversions were made and considered that perverse pleasure and sexual instincts needed psychiatric treatment. Here, Foucault says that those who are deviated or those who are not going in this the traditional way of sexuality, that is heterosexuality, were considered as perverted people, and they were isolated and were given psychiatric treatment. And such people were isolated and assessed separated biological and psychical instinct. They were called as something biologically separate. They were considered as a separate creature, and they were sent to psychiatric treatment. So Foucault in this work says that it's a very bad behavior towards homosexuals. Next, in the third section, married couples were severely scrutinized or examined. Sex beyond marriage was during that time considered as a very wrong thing, and it's considered as a sin. Sex was restricted to certain age, place, and for certain relations. Certain age means for they allowed sex only for adults, and allowed sex in the place like bedroom, and allowed sex in certain relations like heterosexuality or more normalcy of married couple. Sex was allowed in all these three periods. That is, sex was allowed to only to married couple. Sex is allowed only to only in the place of bedroom, and sex is allowed only to certain age. That is, sex should, they have given the instruction that sex should only be in the adult age, not in an old age. And the most important section who were controlled are females. Female, all these institutions like religion and education, all these things considered female body as a completion of sexuality. That is, they considered female body as full of sexuality. So it must be medically studied. So to maintain this order of society, they said that female should be kept in the home, in the context of home, to maintain the order of society. Female body must be it must be medically studied. Female body should be kept within the context of family to ensure sanctity and normalcy in society. This is what the institutions of power instructed during 19th century. Thank you.